ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, in the news, there's really not much happening. I had like 6 news stories pulled up, and none of them seemed very interesting, so we're just going to kind of breeze on by into trailer talk, where we have Hocus Pocus 2, the new trailer for that, which I believe dropped like 2 weeks ago, right, Ty? And you wanted to put it on here because I forgot.
Yep.
All right, cool. We'll get to the new streaming. There's a short but pretty decent and interesting list coming. What we're watching, of course, and our main review for the episode is Thor, Love and Thunder. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by Norse Nathaniel Gingrich.
Hello, everyone. I'm Norse Nathaniel.
Yes.
Not
to be confused with Nord Nathaniel, which is, I think, your name for the Northmen.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they're,
yeah,
I guess from the same area, but different last names.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could do like a Swedish accent or something cool there, but
they're tough, right?
Yeah.
I'm not
I would
really
find them
many
tough,
accents, but I feel like of all of them, like Swedish, I'd just be like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just gonna sound like an idiot.
Yeah, you inevitably just end up sounding like something else, right?
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Also joining us today, it's Trapped Tyler Verdalis.
I don't want to be fucking trapped.
Well, too bad, bro.
Maybe he's like trapped, like you're like trapped up, like you have huge trap muscles.
There you go. Let's go with that one.
Either that or it's like a trap house.
Yeah, you're a trap queen.
I don't know if you'd want to be a trap house, Ty, but I mean,
I feel like
I think
Blake's
of all
muted.
those 3,
Blake's
that
definitely
might not be
muted.
the worst, but
Blake is muted,
Definitely
I
what?
think.
I didn't even see if he was trying to talk.
Blake, we think you're muted again.
I see it.
He heard
He's
us.
working on it.
Yeah.
Stand by, audio listeners.
I was like, he has to have a comment for like the trap house thing. Like,
it's so funny how like just randomly things just stop working. It's annoying.
I feel like I can see his.
You guys hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. To double back real quick when you guys talked about Trap House Tide, and I was like, what if he was just like the actual house though? like Monster House?
Like,
Yeah.
I was about to say like Monster House.
Like he was actually a trap house.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I might change my review for next week to Monster House. What a good movie.
That's an awesome movie, man. Yeah.
I haven't seen it in 10 years, and I'm sure it actually is.
I was gonna say,
great, but
I feel like that's one of those movies that will you like go back to it and like the story's still good, but the like CGI is just so
oh my
much
God,
worse
the
than you
animation I'm
imagine.
sure is awful.
Yeah.
Like I don't even remember it being very good back then.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say there was a very fun GameCube Monster House.
I feel like
game
you've
that I used
talked
to
about
play
this
on the
before
GameCube.
too.
We have brought it up, I believe. Yeah. It's it was very fun. At least it was back in the day. I don't know if it still is. But of course, rounding out the squadron today, it's Big Hammer BlakeHolder.
Yo.
Hammer time.
Yeah.
Has he said that yet?
MC. No, he didn't, which is actually a letdown. That at least he didn't say that in this movie. Spoiler.
I was about to say, I feel like he's probably said that. In
Surely
If
Robert
gotta
Downey
already use
Jr.
that.
has like quipped that at some point.
Had
He's
sure.
like,
Right?
Yes, has. had
Then
to.
it'll be
Right
later
in.
for Hammer Time or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's speaking of just putting time after any word, one of my favorite memes that I've seen come to salvation on the internet is from Morbius. Have you guys just seen like the Morbin time meme?
Yes.
No.
You've never seen that?
Oh yeah, how have you missed the
I
it's
don't know if I
Morbin
want to.
time?
I can't believe you've never seen the
Yeah.
Morbin time memes. I don't think he
I just-
says it's Morbin time at all in the movie,
No.
but yeah.
I don't know how I missed that either, but that's so.
Could you imagine?
If he said
It's
it's Morbin
Morbius
time.
time.
Morbin time. Dude, if they make a sequel, I don't see how they don't put that.
Well,
in
no,
there.
that when they
There's
did
no way
the
that movie's getting a sequel, dude.
when they did the thing where they brought it back to theaters, there was a horrible
Yeah.
like TikTok thing where Jared Leto was reading the script for Morbius 2, and it was like quoted Morbin time, like that was the colon bit.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, look it up. It's
my
a thing,
Gosh. Yeah.
which
I've only seen
automatically
memes.
killed,
I didn't
which
know.
I
Doing
feel
that
like
as a
killed the
joke,
meme.
right?
Yeah.
We're not actually getting Morbius 2.
No,
I would fucking hope not.
There's no way. They lost so much money on that. They lost so much money on that movie.
Yeah.
God.
I actually
What a
saw
flop.
something. They said we're super off tangent now, but I
Oh,
actually
it's
saw
fine.
something.
We have
they
no
said that-
news. We can tangent all we want this
Okay,
time.
Yeah,
for
there's
sure,
no
for sure.
news.
But yeah, I was watching something on YouTube, and they did say the one good thing of that film, though, it's almost the best representation of echolocation
Oh, okay.
to put in the film. Like, there's a scene where he's learning his powers. It seems like, and they were like, that was like a really good representation of how like animals use echolocation.
Gotcha.
So, shout out to them for that.
Yeah, that's
Outside
good
of
to
that,
hear.
that's about it.
I feel like the only other like reference in a movie I have for echolocation is The Dark Knight when they have like the phone things that
Oh
are
yeah.
using the
Mhm.
frequency from their phones to like
Mhm. Very
give
true.
him pictures of like the city essentially.
Yeah, very true.
I don't know if that was like a specifically echolocation, but that's what it reminded me of. I think it was some
Yeah.
sort of similar like Doppler kind of thing.
Yeah, that may be like a Reddit chain we'll have to start. It's like films that use echolocation and like just see
Okay.
what we got rocking. You know what I mean?
I wonder how many upvotes that would get. You think that's gonna be a very popular Reddit thread?
I don't know. I'm more interested in how many films use echo. To be honest with you, we can only think of two off the top between Morbius and The Dark Knight.
End of list. There we go. Closed it out. Clocked it. We're done.
Oh, I'm back.
Sweet.
I got disconnected.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. I didn't hear anything that happened in the last like 30 seconds, so I apologize.
You're good.
We're back though. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's it. I digress. Unless anybody else has got some other tangent stuff you want to get off your chest.
No, I think it.
Any tangents you're out there feeling? I think that's kind of.
I don't think you could like come up with a tangent. I feel like part of the tangent is that it just happens naturally.
I feel like we're about like 2 or 3 like iterations from corporate culture around though before we start having like designated tangent times at the the start of our meetings. Like that's how they're like if anyone wants to get any tangents off their chest at the start of our meeting, just do it now. Thank you. And then we'll take all questions and queries at the end.
I like that. I more the idea that we have an office and meetings.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I feel like if we got to that point, our meetings would just be like, guys, we're gonna watch a movie, and it's just like that's it.
I mean,
That was like my favorite day in school.
Right?
You like come
would
in
not
and you're like,
be.
hey man, we're just gonna watch a movie today. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I remember seeing a TikTok that was like one of those. It was like a teacher in like their mid-20s, maybe late 20s.
Mhm.
Like you would never really realize this growing up, but movie days are just when the teachers are just probably really hungover.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they just don't feel like doing shit, so we're just gonna watch a movie,
Yeah. So
which is
here,
so funny.
let me ask you this then, Adam. So while we're talking about movie time and whatnot in elementary school,
Of course.
like were you guys also watching movies on the TVs that like rolled out with the wheels with the big back, or like what TVs did you guys use? That's my question.
In elementary school, Westgate Elementary School,
Shout out Westgate.
Shout out Westgate. We had those big tube TVs, but they're like mounted in the corners of the ceiling.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, it's an upgrade.
Yeah, so we did have a few that would like wheel around, like 1 or 2, I think, that were just kind of left over that the school still had. But pretty much every classroom by that point had a big tube TV in it, and at least one corner that we were able to
Okay.
watch stuff on. And then once I got to middle school, that building was much newer. I think it was built in 97 or maybe even 05. It was like somewhere in that range. It's like,
Sure.
early 2000s, around
Sure.
that time.
Right.
And at that point, that's almost every classroom had a projector. And so like from then on, it was just like in middle school on, it was just always projectors and watching
Yeah.
movies on the whiteboards essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a deep cut thought. I haven't thought about the 2 TVs in the classrooms for a
man.
minute. Remember those overhead projector things that we like the teacher would write on like the thing
Oh
on
wow,
you have,
yeah.
yeah. You
I
have
haven't
like
thought of that until you just said that.
right, like you have like the box, and then you have like the little lamp
Yeah,
almost that is the light that
yeah.
goes on top of it, and then
Yeah.
And
you know,
the clear sheet of
goes-
paper, or like
the
the
clear
clear
sheet of
sheet
paper,
that you
exactly,
would
and
write
then
on,
yeah,
wipe it
they'd
off.
have to like they'd have to roll it because they don't have time to wipe it
Oh,
down
yeah,
off every time.
yeah.
So they'd roll it because there's like a big thing from behind, and you roll it forward.
Yeah.
And then like once a month they have to like unwind it all and erase everything. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's
Wow. Yeah, that
funny.
was a deep cut right there.
That's a real big.
I haven't accessed that part of my brain in a while.
I know, right?
So Tyler and I
there's-
say we used those until into high school.
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, I could believe that because I definitely had those in middle school, but I don't think I had it in high school.
I definitely didn't have it in high school. There was
I don't know.
2 teachers that used it in my middle school, I think. Like my
Mhm.
math teacher and my math teacher used it, and I think that was pretty much it. Actually, I might have had one teacher in high school use it, but I can't remember if she used that or if she just used like, you know what, I'm pretty sure it was just like an overhead camera that then went to the projector and she did that. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
that's what it
okay.
was.
Yeah.
Don't think it was the overhead projector, although she might have used it once or twice. I don't know why, but I have the memory of that being in her classroom. Mrs. Trent, shout out Mrs. Trent. She was like my favorite math teacher in high school. That was my last like scary math subject before I took stats. Pre-calc. Anyway, talk about a tangent. I think that's about as tangential as
I had one more question, random question to fill.
go for it. We still have plenty of time.
Can you name the youngest teacher you remember having, like of grade, right? So like, if you remember your kindergarten teacher, can you say your kindergarten or first grade?
Yeah,
preschool.
Mrs. I think I can do almost every single grade.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
And to some degree, I feel like I could get my class schedule down pretty well too. But I know kindergarten was Mrs. A, which was everyone called her Mrs. A, but I think it was Aberscotto. And then second grade was first grade was Mrs. Harris, then Mrs. Heineck, then Mrs. Danley, then Mrs. Stella, and then fifth grade was Mrs. Duffy. And then obviously you get to middle school and there's more teachers and classes and stuff. But that was elementary school for sure. And like I said, if you gave me some time, I could probably give you a pretty close representation of my class schedule in middle and high school.
Wow. Adam, Nathaniel, do you know the youngest teacher you remember having?
I could probably tell you my elementary school teachers, but not anything past that, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, mine would be.
You guys are definitely more further removed than I. So
it's definitely getting fuzzier. But
Yeah, mine would be Miss Steffens, and I believe she was first grade.
Okay, yeah. I think the youngest grade I can remember, my second grade teacher is Miss Ayers. And I can't recall who I had for first in kindergarten.
Yeah, I remember kindergarten, Mrs. Combs.
Anyway, Hocus Pocus.
A movie that came out when a lot of us were in elementary school, I think. What was it, 97?
Using overhead projectors and tube TVs, and as Blake would say, it was a pre-9/11 world.
I think that's what Nathaniel said, right?
It was what Nathaniel said.
Hocus Pocus is 93, by the way.
So, shit, okay.
Old. I don't think I've seen the original.
Really?
Yeah.
Get on it.
Should I? Are we about to do a double feature?
Probably could.
That's either that or that one's that can definitely wait till Halloween time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Tyler, I'm gonna toss it just straight over to you. You're the one who wanted to put this in trailer talk, make sure we got around to it. So Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, I mean, Hocus Pocus is a classic for me and my family, at least. It's like one of my mom's all-time favorites. Same thing with one of my little sisters, Abby. Dude, yeah, I mean, this is like, you know how during the holidays they have the Christmas Story on 24/7.
Sure.
Yes.
This is basically the movie we have on 24/7 for Halloween. from from when I was a kid, at least, like when I was over with my mom.
Right.
Now, I'm a little past it, but I do make it a point to watch it during Halloween for myself. So and Carolia likes it, and it's obviously a Disney movie. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. This has been something that a lot of people have talked about for a long time, wanting a number 2, and I'll be surprised to see how young they can keep everybody looking from the witch standpoint, because technically they shouldn't age the same. But and it's obviously some years have passed.
Sure.
And they were all kind of 2 of them were relatively old already. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously there's a lot of technology with CGI and stuff like that, but it can only hide so much. So that'll be kind of my main interesting point, to see how they kind of handle that. But other than that, I'm excited. I think it'll be pretty good.
Maybe they'll be like, well, they did die in the last one. I mean, spoilers, Adam, but they did die in the last one.
No fucking way. No shot.
Maybe they'll be like,
shot.
Every time they get reincarnated, they do get older. So like they don't like age once they're at that, once they've been reincarnated, but they tack on like 7 years all at once or something every time you got to come back.
No shot. You just spoiled that for Adam.
You just spoiled a 30-year-old movie.
A Disney movie too, where they're the bad guys.
Dude,
so
come on, man.
Really, this is on you, Adam.
No, it's on Mrs. Danley for not playing it in the 3rd grade.
Or you for watching the Disney Channel as a kid.
I watch the Disney Channel all the time, good sir. All the time.
I feel like you should have seen it at
I'm
some
well
point
versed
then.
in Halloween Town, and I don't even know what else, but this is one I feel like I just maybe I'll watch it and like be like, oh, it's this movie. Like maybe I have seen it, I just don't know.
I bet you have.
Because sometimes it's one of those things where it's like you don't exactly know what you watched.
Right.
Yeah, this and Beetlejuice are like the 2 movies that are like ones I haven't seen before. Wait, should I know this cat?
Yeah, it's Binks.
Zachary Biggs.
All right, I think I'm thinking of Sabrina the Teenage Witch when I talk.
Probably.
Black cat. Isn't that the one that talks?
Yes.
They both talk.
Yeah.
Oh, they both talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Which one's cooler?
Zachary Biggs.
Yeah, let's just say
Okay, bet.
Binks is pretty dope.
Okay, so Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which one is that? Is that Ariana Grande?
No.
No.
Is she in any of those Disney movies, or am I completely tripping right now?
She started out as a Nickelodeon star.
Victorious, right?
That's what it
Victorious.
is.
Yeah.
And then she had her own show with Sam and Cat with the chick from iCarly, Jessica Curdy.
So Sabrina the Teenage, who's that? Is that Vanessa Hudgenson?
No, that's Lovejoy.
It's one of those people. I feel pretty bad.
What's her name? Is her last name's like
All right,
Love or Lovejoy or
guys,
something?
we have Google. I'm looking. Sabrina the Teenage.
That was
Witch
an
cast.
older one. Love Heart? Something like that?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's Love Heart.
Melissa
Lovejoy.
Joan Hart.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm way off, fellas.
All good. I don't know. Did they reboot it?
Yeah, that was the
I don't
Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which was on Netflix. Got a gritty reboot. Pretty decent.
Okay.
But the cat didn't talk in that one.
Probably for the best.
How dare you?
All right. Well, that comes out September 30th. I think we'll tentatively keep it up for review, but I don't want to commit too much. We'll see. Tyler, would you be offended if we don't review it? I have no idea.
No, I mean, more than likely it's either going to come to theaters and we'll go see it, or I'll probably just come straight to Disney and I'll still watch it.
It's coming straight to Disney.
It's a
so
streamer.
I'll watch it either way.
All right. I just don't know if this is like a movie we...
Well, watch
would
the
review.
first one and find out, Adam.
That's true. Maybe I should hold off my judgment. So I'll keep my mouth shut. Anyway, that's it for Trailer Talk. We can get on to Adam Schwartz's completely subjective new to streaming list for the week of July 10th through the 16th. My birth week, if you want to, be one of those people.
Happy birth week.
Thank you. For those of you who do not know, the completely subjective neuter streaming list is a list of things coming to the streaming services, but of course there's a lot that comes, but not all of it is worth checking out. This is my hand-selected, curated list of things that might be worth checking out if you're looking for new things. Netflix is getting Bill Burr live at Red Rocks. This is his new special, and I'm very excited. I love Bill Burr. I've seen him 2 or 3 times live, and he's I think probably my favorite comedian to see live. Just like I was talking about this with oh my god, did I never bring this up on pod? I went to go see Nick Kroll tape his Netflix special.
No, you didn't talk about that.
Oh my god. All right, I'll put that in what we're watching because I don't know how I didn't think to bring that up. This was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So my bad. Anyway, I'll make sure I keep that in what we're watching because I should talk about that. That's probably a good thing to talk about. Anyway, there are comedians who like are very funny and have well rehearsed bits, and will go out there and the jokes are very funny because they've thought about them for a long time and they worked them out and by just doing shows and doing them over and over and improving upon them. But Bill Burr, like both times I've seen him, it was just he was doing some material, but eventually like his ADD or whatever he has would just carry him off on just some tangents, and that stuff was even funnier than his material. Like he is just naturally so funny that anything he does and anything that comes to his mind that he just says, and it's hilarious. And like the crowd work he was doing was just I couldn't stop laughing. Me and my brother were just like, you're just laughing for almost 60 minutes straight because he is just that funny. So he is definitely one of my favorite comedians still around, and definitely recommend seeing him if you get a chance because goddamn, he is hilarious. Netflix is also getting Resident Evil Season 1. I didn't know this was happening, but this is a new TV show, Resident Evil, which we've gotten several movies as recently as, was it either earlier this year or like sometime last year?
It was last year, yeah.
Okay, and now this is a TV show coming to Netflix.
Is it live action?
Yes.
Is it based off Raccoon City? The
is
last
not.
Film they gave us? Okay.
It is not. As far as, and it says here, it's also from, it is also from the creator of, or some kind of person who's attached to Supernatural.
Okay.
It is live action from what I can tell.
Weird. Yeah, I'm looking at it on IMDb now.
Yeah.
Huh.
Lance Reddick is in it.
Our boy.
Yeah. And then I don't know, is anyone else asking for this? Why is this the only franchise that we can get from video games to movies or entertainment?
Continuously too. We've got like fucking 8 of these shits.
We've been through it. It's not working. Give it a rest. Who's like, you know what? The last 9 Resident Evil movies have flopped hella, and no one seems to be a fan. Well, let's just try a TV show instead.
Maybe it's just like one of those like things where it's like an in-house brand, so it's like an insignia, so that's where like the most margin is. So like whether it's dog shit or not, they're still making money on it.
It's got to be something like that.
I think a more likely hypothesis is they're using the IP to like launder money.
That's what I was going to go back to.
Yeah,
money laundering.
Yeah, they're definitely laundering money with these movies, and there's no other reason to be making them.
And listeners, if any one of us goes missing because of this laundering, you know it's fucking true.
Big Netflix taking us down.
All I know is if they're gonna pay you $3 to pay it quiet, just make sure they're not paying in cash because you don't want to have that cash.
Hey, we'll take a sponsorship. Start reviewing.
Yeah, we will.
I'll shill out for Netflix.
I will also shill out for Netflix. If you want us to review this, you can pay us. And the last thing coming to Netflix, they're getting Uncharted.
My bottom movie from last year, bit of sizzle.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So yeah, Tyler and Nathaniel, I'm sure, are very excited. As they should be. Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen that, check that out. We also did a review on it.
I should watch it again. I don't remember anything about it.
It'll be like it first time.
I think I'm with you.
No, I remember. There's a henchman with like a Scottish accent. And then
Oh, yeah, okay, I do remember that. Yeah.
Tom Holland's like hanging from the ceiling. And then is it Anthony Banderas? Is that his
Anthony
name?
Bourdain, yeah.
Bourdain?
Antonio
yeah,
Banderas.
And I combined the two. Yeah, he's in it, and then there's ships at the end.
There are some ships.
They're they they're
It's a
hanging
big
from
pile of ships.
big ships.
Are you saying
yeah,
pile of shit?
I said ships.
I'm saying ships with P.
Yeah, it's a big pile of ships.
We should move on. Amazon isn't getting much. Hulu is getting What We Do in the Shadows season 4 premiere. I never finished season 3, but I actually remember enjoying season 3 quite a bit. Maybe I'll go back and catch back up. And they're also getting Venus and Serena, which is like a documentary, I think, from 2012. And of course the Williams sisters. HBO Max is getting Edge of the Earth. It's a like extreme sports documentary kind of. They're doing like snowboarding and skiing stuff, it seems, but like on big dangerous mountains. Apparently it's pretty good from what I was looking up online when I wanted to see. So if you want to see that, you got that there. It also HBO is also getting Godzilla from 2014.
Ooh.
Which I want to rewatch. I haven't seen it, I think, since theaters maybe. I feel like it'd be fun to rewatch that.
Yeah, that's one. I think I'm with you. I don't think I've seen that since probably. I just saw it after theaters. I probably caught it maybe 2016 or so. But
Okay.
yeah, still a good movie.
I like that
Awesome
movie,
representation of scale in that movie, by the way. The airport scene in that is very, very good, just in terms of seeing the scale of Godzilla's foot compared to planes, airports, buildings, where I think they kind of got away from that in King of the Monster. And
who is the director of that?
That was
what's
Gareth
his name?
Edwards. Gareth Edwards, I want to say was that, and then he did.
That sounds right.
He was supposed to do Rogue One.
It was Gareth Edwards. Yep.
Yeah, he did most of Rogue One, and then he hasn't done anything since then, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I want to go back and rewatch that because I feel like that was definitely better than I think people wanted or thought it was at the time.
Underrated trailer. That trailer is awesome. Where it starts with them
I remember.
jumping
Godzilla
out
2014.
Yeah.
Is it the one on the bridge?
Well, no, where they're jumping out of the airplane with the
The flares.
with the flares.
Yeah. That's an awesome scene too. And you just watch them scale down Godzilla.
Yeah.
And it's like forever.
Yeah.
It is dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely watching this movie actually.
For sure. That's a very cinematic movie. That's another one of those movies that just looks very good. So as Adam says, you can just like screen cap any of those scenes in that movie. Like, nah, it's a good shot.
Yeah. Disney Plus is getting they're doing something called Shark Fest. I think they're trying to beat out Shark Week. You got a bunch of shark content. So if that's your jam, it's there for you.
Love sharks.
Sharks. Gotta do Miss Marvel episode 6 finale. I have not watched a single episode, but I've heard it's very, very good. Blake, I'm sure you're a big fan.
I don't even think you could pay me to watch that show.
I've seen 3 episodes. I really like it. It's actually pretty good.
Blake, gun to your head, gun to your balls. Are you watching Miss Marvel or are you watching Resident Evil, the TV show?
Oh, Resident Evil TV show.
Yeah, that's not even a question.
It's probably
for
much
him.
worse.
Come on.
It's probably much worse. So I can't admit that. But
Yeah, that's not it.
I'm
couldn't
a
call
horror
that.
guy, and I played the Resident Evil video games, fellas.
Yeah,
That
I was like,
easy.
that was not even
I
a
can't argue
call
with that.
for Blake.
That's funny though.
Zero hesitation there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Nathaniel, Ty, have you guys been keeping up on Miss Marvel?
I haven't since episode 3.
I haven't watched since like since like episode 3 or something like that.
So we both fell off at the exact same place, but I will finish it. I actually really like that show.
Okay.
I will also probably finish.
I may or may not get around to it at some point. I still have to watch Moon Knight and finish Obi-Wan and Boba Fett and, you know.
Funny thing about Moon Knight, I constantly have to tell Bill, because Bill's like, "Oh, I finished Moonlight," or "Hey, did you watch Moonlight?" And I'm like, "It's Moon Knight, you idiot."
I like the idea that Bill is just constantly rewatching the film Moonlight as well too.
Yeah,
just
I was about to say, he's just constantly
hoping
just
you've
a
caught
big
up
fan.
on it as well too. Yeah,
I love him.
That's so funny. All right. Well, that's it for the new streaming list, guys. We can get on to the what we're watching segment. I'm going to start because I don't have much to talk about.
Start it.
I
Start
watched
her
the
up.
Wimbledon finals.
Which
men's finals.
Djokovic versus Kyrgios for some kind of weird.
Kyrgios.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. It's like curious, but silent G, I guess.
Like Cheerios.
But wasn't it kind of like he kind of stumbled his way into the finals because someone else dropped
He
out
had,
or something?
Yes. So he was supposed to play Nadal in the semifinals, and Nadal, who just won the French Open, he's been playing with I believe it's his ankle or knee, where he had surgery on it, has had to recover, and took a while to get back, and it's been a kind of a reoccurring issue for the past year and a half, 2 years, where he's just been trying to rehab to the point where he can sustain his career. And then in the quarters, I guess he suffered a abdominal tear, like about a 2 millimeter abdominal tear or something like that in his which is obviously in tennis not really something you can play around. Very hard to do that. So there was it came out that he had that, and like there was some debate as to whether he was going to play or not. And for a second, it looked like he might actually try to play, but he decided not to. And so he got a free pass to the finals. But that being said, I mean, he didn't have a completely easy path, but it wasn't terribly hard. His biggest opponent was Tsitsipas from Greece, who's very good. And that was a 5-set match. That was a long one. And he barely made it through. So, but besides that, it wasn't like he was playing a ton of other like really good people. Obviously, getting to the finals, regardless of whether you skip out on Nadal or not, is hard. But I'm not the biggest Kyrgios fan. He's tennis is a very respectful sport in a lot of ways, and it's very it's a similar to golf in some ways. There's a culture around sportsmanship and that kind of thing. And he's kind of a hothead, and he's constantly yelling and screaming at both himself and sometimes umpires and referees and like people in the people watching, spectators. Like he's kind of a hothead, and I'm not the biggest fan, but I do respect like what he's trying to do. And I'm also not the biggest fan of Djokovic either, because I'm a Fed fan. And obviously he just tied Federer for the most. He won, so he tied Federer at 21 for the most most Grand Slams. Sorry, second most Grand Slams. They're tied at second. Jesus. Nadal is in the first with 22.
Yeah.
Then Djokovic and Federer at 21. So it was like an interesting final to watch, because I didn't really want either of them to win, but I was kind of rooting for Kyrgios because I just didn't want Djokovic to catch up to Fed. But good tennis. I wish I saw more of Wimbledon this year, because there seemed to be quite a few good matches, and I didn't watch as much as I wanted, but I was able to at least catch the finals, which is good. And then we wait for the U.S. Open. And then I guess I'll talk about the Nick Kroll show. I don't know how it slipped my mind to not bring this up on the what we're watching. But this is, like I said, was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was recording his special in DC. My friends, I think I was recording the podcast, and then I got off, and I usually turn my phone notifications off, and I got off of it. And they texted me. They're like, "Hey, we got you Nick Kroll tickets because you said you like comedy." I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I was gonna say yes anyway, but I didn't respond, and they wanted to buy the tickets, so they just bought them, knowing I was gonna go. So I was like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." And they're like, I was like, "How much do you owe you?" They're like, $30. I was like, "Oh, that's a good price, but we must be in the worst seats possible." And they're also like, "Yeah, he's also recording his Netflix special." I was like, "No, how are we going for $30 to go see him record his next Netflix special?" I was like, "All right, cool. We must just be in like the back row on the second, balcony on the mezzanine." But I don't really care. Like, I'm down to go see it. It's still gonna be a fun atmosphere regardless. And so we go, and we went up to we got in and went up to the second floor, assuming our seats were just up there. I didn't buy the tickets, so I didn't have them to look. But we just assumed they were gonna be out on the second floor. And we hand the tickets or the phone to the usher, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys are downstairs." And we're like, "Oh, okay." And so we walk back downstairs, find our seats, and I'm like, "All right, I guess we'll be one of the first rows in the back." But we just kept walking to row O, I think is where we were. And like all of a sudden we're like maybe 13 rows back. The stipulation is we were the first row behind the little platform that had the big crane.
Sure.
So we had
behind
this
the
whole
camera
crane
equipment.
set up. Exactly. We're right behind the camera equipment. So I was like, finally understand why we were paying paying this price for these tickets, because I had a pretty good view from where I was sitting. Like the camera got in my way once or twice, but for the most part, I could really see everything I needed to see. And we were, like I said, maybe 15 rows back. So it was awesome. And then we get there. I've been to maybe a dozen or so comedy shows, maybe around 10 or so, 10 to 12. And this was the first time I'd seen a Netflix taping, which is something me and my brother have kind of always wanted to go to. And they like 10 minutes before the show starts and the opener comes on, they're like, "Hey, try to get in your seats as soon as possible. We're going to start recording soon. Once the show starts, please do not leave your seats. We're going to be recording the whole time, like unless it's an absolute emergency, like stay in your seats as much as possible." All this stuff. Opener comes on, it's great. And he starts his he comes out and starts his special. And the first line, he comes out, he goes, "It's great to be here. I am just doing my best." And then he pauses and he goes, "You know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys. That was not my best. I'm going to run it back." And he just restarted. Like he just did another take of that. And he did that throughout the show, where like he said something and he didn't like the way he said it, or he mumbled or missaid something. He would just be like, "Sorry."
Just do
and
another
he'd go
take
back
again. Sure.
and just do another take. And there was one time where he even was like, he said his joke, got a pretty decent reaction. He was like, "Hey, just so you guys know, I'm gonna do another one on that one. I'm gonna do an alternate." And he walks the joke back a second, and he does it again with a different punchline, and it got a way better reaction.
Yeah.
And it's just like super interesting because I didn't expect that. I probably should have. But I've been to, like I said, 10 or 11 comedy shows. I've never seen someone just kind of redo lines like that, and it obviously makes sense that he's doing that for the special. But I was like kind of caught off guard. I was like, "Oh, that's actually like really interesting and makes a lot of sense." Someone interrupted his show at one point, and it was bad. Like it wasn't like one of those. I think the guy had the idea that, "Oh, I'm about to make it into the Netflix special or something." Like
Right.
he was probably like 30 minutes into the show, almost halfway through, and he finished basically, he didn't even finish his joke. He kind of stopped mid joke. He's like, "Dude, do you have like a question or something? Like you've been raising your hand like this entire time. Like what's up?" And I couldn't really hear what the guy was saying. And he talks for not even like 10 seconds. He's like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear what you're about to say." And because he must have not been entertaining enough, or it was
Sure.
stupid. And then the guy continues to talk. He's like, no. Like he continues to talk. He gives it like another 5 to 10 seconds. He's like, "Dude, I did not stop my show to talk about fantasy football with you." And I was like, "Oh my God, no way." He stopped to interrupted his show to talk about some dumb shit like that. So he was like, "Thanks, but like I'm gonna go back to recording my Netflix special." And I could tell he was like almost like he was probably livid, and I would be as well. But he realized that he caught himself and realized like he's on stage and can't just kind of go off on this guy. So he's like, "Thanks, I really appreciate it, but I'm gonna go back to my special." And I've seen people interrupt shows for like dumb reasons sometimes, but never during like why would you think to do that during a Netflix special? That is not the time. Like if it was a regular show, maybe, but I was just my jaw dropped when that happened. And also people were leaving their seats constantly. Like there's like they specifically said, "Do not leave your seats unless you have to." And just like it was just as if people didn't hear that.
Wow.
Like it was just like a regular show. People just go in the bathroom as they please. And I was just like, "What are you guys doing?" But overall, great time, good special. I'm looking forward to kind of. I think I might go back and watch it when it comes out. See, I don't think I'll be on camera anywhere because I'm right behind the other camera, so
Sure.
they have to do something to do that. But just kind of see what I can pick out. Made it from my show to compare because they always do 2 tapings. So we were the later one. So you have like a 7 o'clock show, and then you have the 10 o'clock show. We were the 10 o'clock. So I would love to go back and see what from my showing was put in. But
Right.
yeah, I sorry I didn't bring this up sooner, but anyway. That
Sounds like a fun time,
maybe
dude.
about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was cool seeing like the crane operator too, like being right in front of me was honestly kind of fun because obviously like that shit. So it was like cool seeing him work that, and what an expensive piece of equipment. Like I could just tell like he had like handles, but he was like pushing them down to like give that. It was like one was pushing him down for elevation, one was obviously like horizontal, but I don't know how the controls were exactly, but I could just tell like holy shit, like this actually takes quite a bit of skill to maneuver in a way that is makes it very smooth and everything like that. An extremely wide lens, like I could see how close the camera was to the stage, but then I could see their monitor display of what the camera was, and I just was taken aback by how much you could see, but how close it was. It was an ultra wide lens, so it was really cool. But yeah, seeing that stuff and then the other cameras there, it was just fun little thing to be at. Glad I finally got around to a Netflix taping, but I'd love to go see more of them, or just more comedy shows in general. Yeah, I finally had something to talk about and what we're watching. Wow, it's been a bit. All right, well that is it for my list. I finished out Silverstone Grand Prix. I actually was not able to watch Austria, so I will go back and watch Austria and get back to you guys. All right, Tyler.
Yeah. Nick Kroll's funny, by the way. I like him a lot.
Yeah, his special was good. Like the comedy itself, it was good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy him in the league.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been. I'll bet you that was the fantasy football thing.
I would
I remember. Yeah, because I didn't watch the league, but I knew he did have something to do with that show.
Man, league's funny as fuck.
Yeah. So that's what I'm assuming he was trying to talk to him about, but like still not the time.
He's a big sports guy. He's a big fantasy guy, so he definitely plays that out. So
yeah.
Anywho, I did get to the Austrian Grand Prix. You know me, never miss a race. So I got around to that. Very, very fun. You can see a lot of the midfield kind of coming up, and it was really great to see some people you don't typically see or get to hear their names called out very often. And there were a lot of funny memes going around because Mick Schumacher kind of made some faces over the weekend that looked like his dad's face, and it was pretty funny to kind of see how similar they actually look to one another. So
and just started racing well. Last 2 races, Haas double points, baby.
Points, baby. So
the Top Gunth memes are funnier than shit.
I love.
So yeah, good race altogether. It sucks for Sergio and Carlos Sainz, both with the DNF, but the
cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, it is what it is. Reliability.
The gearbox crumbles.
Yeah. So other than that, I am constantly staying up with One Piece, so always a fan. And then I think I'm definitely on to season 2 now. Everything's just all kind of bunched together. There really is no like finale or anything like that. Yeah. So I think I'm on like episode 75 total or something like that. So just cruising through these things. And I've been having a lot of fun with it lately. They're on to Mr. 3 and Miss Wednesday and everything like that, where they're turning the giants into wax and all that shit.
Very strange bit on that. What is it, like Lumpy and Grumpy or something like that, or Buggy?
Yeah, it's like a Brody or Brokey or something like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, very funny. But yeah, just a wild storyline.
Yeah, I remember that being the first time I saw one of the devil fruit powers. It was just like, oh, these can be anything. And
yeah, just the wildest shit.
Yeah,
this dude can he can manipulate wax and create it.
Yeah, his whole body is candle wax, and he can fashion it into anything. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, but fun nonetheless. I got around to 2 movies this week, and then that'll pretty much wrap up my list. I did get around to Rogue One.
Oh, we were just talking about that.
Yep, that's how I was gonna say something, but I was like, nah, I'll just leave it. So, yeah, I was just after Obi-Wan, I wanted to get some Star Wars in there, and I got around to A New Hope not too long ago, and so I also got around to Rogue One because why not? Definitely one of the better ones out of the new series. So,
yeah, I like
and then to kind of stick with our superhero format, I decided to watch the original Thor.
Okay.
Wow.
So
fun to go back to blonde eyebrow Chris Hemsworth.
yeah, it's so funny because like I literally sat there and I'm like, he either got work done or something's wrong.
Right.
Like it looks so different. And yeah, the blonde eyebrows is definitely a part of it for sure.
Yeah, I think
his whole face structure almost kind of looks different.
Who knows?
A bit. I think doesn't he have a little more facial hair in the more recent ones?
Well, yeah, I think that's what it was too. Is that like all of the hair and I think all the hair in that one might be makeup as well too, like the long hair and the eyebrows and the beard.
Yeah. And on top of that, that was what 10 years ago.
True.
Like, people. He's not Tom Cruise, so he changes.
Yeah. So but yeah, other than that, that's all I got to. But everything was real fun. I actually don't mind the original Thor.
I like it.
The second one that kind of everybody shits on. But well, rightfully so. And then everybody, loves Ragnarok. So, but yeah, that's all I got. Nathaniel, I believe you watched the race. What else did you get around to?
I did watch the race, yeah. So I got to see actually all of that this week, which was fun. And yeah, obviously, kind of a tough one for Signs. Well, a little bit of a scary one too, because they could not get his car to stop rolling backwards while it was still on fire. So that was fun. But yeah, good race, fun race. Happy for Charles. Charles. I also got to watch some of the, or actually watch most of all of the Apex Legends finals tournament this past weekend, which was pretty cool and interesting to watch. I like how they have their tournament set up where it's like, obviously it's a battle royale game, but they have it so you have to score a certain amount of points and then from then on win a match. So you can you have to get 50 amount of points, which you can get from placement or kills. But then once you hit 50 points, you have to finish that game, and then you're considered on match point. And then after that, you have to win an actual match afterwards to win the whole thing. So you can have 6 or 7 teams.
That's how that works.
Yeah, so you can have 6 or 7 teams on match point, and then you start to have the rest of the lobby try and obviously kind of keep it away from them and everything like that too. So I think it's a pretty smart way of setting it up, and it kind of builds a little more tension in there than just I
like that,
an overall tournament thing. Yeah. So yeah, that was really cool. What else did I get to watch? More of Trigun, which I'm enjoying quite a bit. We're now to a point in the series where I guess the series and the original story kind of go in different directions. So, and then I guess right now they're kind of creating or in the process of creating a reboot, I guess, that finishes out what actually happens in the manga versus what happens in the series. So that'll be interesting to see coming soon, but I'm enjoying that overall. And then besides Thor 4, I finished Stranger Things. Did I talk about that last week? I can't remember if I did or not.
I think so, yeah.
You did.
Okay, so yeah, I finished Stranger Things. That was really good. And then I also watched Seven, or I rewatched Seven.
Interesting.
I see Blake is reacting over there.
Yeah, that's actually really funny. But yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah. So I mean, I was just kind of it's been sitting in the back pocket for a little while now, and I was like, man, I should really rewatch that. And then I think we talked about doing it on the podcast at one point, or it was on the short list, and then I saw it on there on Netflix the other day, and I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna watch it. I threw it on, and yeah, that movie's still awesome. But other than Thor 4, that was really it. Blake,
Cool.
what did you get up to?
Blake.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just cut straight to it. I also watched Seven. I don't know how that telepathically worked.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I did. I think because I was on
That's
Netflix
why he was
as
reacting
well.
that way.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, it just
and-
came to one of the streaming services. I remember it was on the new streaming list not too long ago.
Yeah, so I turned on Netflix to see if I can finish last episode of part 1 of season 4, if that makes sense.
Of Stranger Things, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was going to finish that up. I was like, I'll get some time. And then I turned on Netflix and then I saw 7 and I was like, I certainly rather watch that than watch Stranger Things. So nonetheless, that's how I got to that. Yeah, awesome movie. Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. That's a movie that I was like, man,
Awesome movie.
if I could pick a movie that I would like see again for the first time and like experience again, this one might be one of those that's like up there.
It's up there
for me.
For sure, bro. For sure. So yeah, really, really funny. But yeah, none of us both got to that. And that's one, as Nathaniel said, we'll certainly have to get on pod. Very similar. People compare that to the Batman.
Yeah.
The film that a lot of us just saw that came out in February, March. So yeah, very dark, grimy. You see kind of Seven Sins, things of that nature. So yeah, great movie. Please go watch that. It's on Netflix if you haven't seen it. I think most people would certainly get a kick out of it.
Yeah, if you've never had any of 7 spoiled for you or anything, like please go into it as blind as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Because that's one that, again, like I said, I wish I could have that one back in some ways and just watch again for the first time.
That sounds like one of those ones you guys need to like watch with me for my first time.
Yeah. Next time you're in town.
Yeah.
So yeah, got to that. I also got to a film I've been trying to watch the past few years, kind of similar to that realm like I was in with American Psycho.
Okay.
And like finally getting to that, I think it was like January or something when I finally like buckled down. Go ahead and watch that. Is I finally watched Jackie Brown, the Tarantino film.
Okay.
So finally got around to that. That's on HBO.
I feel like I've seen like 45 minutes of that movie somehow. Like I don't
Never
know
seen it, man.
Yeah.
It's good. Samuel Jackson is just awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's really no ways around at this point.
Isn't it De Niro? Isn't like De Niro in that for a little bit?
Yeah,
or
he
something
is.
like that
Robert De
too?
Niro's in that film.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy, is it Michael Keaton? The guy who plays Vulture in Spider-Man?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah, Michael Keaton's in there. Yeah, pretty good cast. Chris Tucker's in there as well, which I didn't know Chris Tucker was in there. He's kind of got a small side character, you know. Yeah, man, awesome. Tarantino, great movie. It's got some comedic elements. Samuel Jackson saying motherfucker a ton of times. Great movie, man. Please watch it, you know. Not my favorite Tarantino film, but a lot of the people I do talk to who are usually of older generation, because that film is, man, maybe 95 or something like
somewhere
that,
in
96. A lot of people, the older generations, a lot of them say like that's their favorite Tarantino film.
Sure.
You know? So I can kind of see that, but I don't know if I'd put it that high. But yeah, nonetheless, still a great movie. That's on HBO Max too. So anytime you just want to watch some good cinema, feel free to boot up Jackie Brown, but you kind of have to take about 2.5 hours out.
I think Papa Schwartz's favorite Tarantino is Reservoir Dogs, but I could be wrong. It's that or Pulp Fiction.
Sure.
Hey, did we ever hear what he thought of Kiki's delivery service?
Oh, I thought I did report back. He liked it, didn't love it as much as you did.
Okay.
But still liked it. And he watched it with he didn't know it was animated, was what he first said.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
so he was surprised. Yeah, and then he watched it with my mom and sister and was like, I don't know if they liked it. They seemed to like it, but he just wasn't expecting.
That's right.
But yeah, he said it was good. He said he likes like Your Name and Weathering with You better, which he should.
Yeah. All right.
So.
Yeah, but yeah, that's really about it. YouTube, watching people stream Siege, watching people stream MK. That's about it. I actually did watch some tennis this weekend, so I did watch some.
Oh.
Just
it's
for
fun,
me.
man.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch.
I'm I'm a sports guy, so I can pretty much watch in. Like, I can't go months without watching sports, right? So whether it's like baseball or tennis, I'll have something on during the day if I'm like working from home or something, just so I have something to glance at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did catch some of that. I remember I specifically caught the women's doubles championship.
Okay.
So I pretty much watched like that whole match.
Doubles is fun to watch too.
It is. It was
Honestly,
really cool.
they don't get highlighted as much. Like the viewership isn't there as much just because I think maybe singles is just a little bit more impressive. The fact that it's like that one person, but doubles is also. I played doubles in high school almost exclusively. Like I played a few singles matches, but for like conference play, I was always doubles. And it's hard and it's different.
It was interesting just to look at it from like a non-tennis perspective, but still from like an athlete perspective. So I'm like trying to follow and it's like, okay, I can see why people move certain ways, right? And kind of like the flow and things, but okay, I can understand like that's a difficult hit or that's a difficult something to recover from, right? Like I can appreciate it from that, just from being an athlete.
Sure.
So it was cool, man. So nonetheless, I watched that whole thing. So
doubles is fun.
So that was it. Then what did I also do? Yeah, no, that's it. Started I went back to see if I can dig a little deeper in Snowfall, which is a show I brought up a few months back. I believe it was when I was finishing up Atlanta. But I said I wanted to finish Atlanta first.
I remember you saying
that's one on Hulu that I've been recommended to by a lot of people. Of kind of like one of the better modern shows out, and that's just has to do with basically like the drug trade and the crack epidemic, in Los Angeles, like in the 80s, I believe. So how about episode 3 in there? It is pretty interesting. I obviously got to deep dive into it further to see where it goes, but something I'm kind of curious to see where I'll take it. So outside of that, I unfortunately watched Thor: Love and Thunder. So
oh boy,
we'll go from there.
Well, with that resounding endorsement, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
What up, folks? If you are new, or maybe you've just forgotten, the way the review segment works here on Back Row Banter is it is split into 2 sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie itself, talk to you about its IMDb page, go around the quadrant, give our first reactions, and then recommend or not recommend this movie, as you may have already been able to guess. We will have to decide on that, whether we recommend or do not recommend this movie, but seems like Blake's leaning one way or the other here. From then on out, it's going to be spoiler time. I'll play the spoiler noise, so if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, you can get on out of here, but do come back once we're done with the spoiler section, where we will rank everything on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched for the podcast ranked. And Adam, tell me about Thor for the fourth Thor.
With Thor?
Yeah, for Thor.
For Thor. I would love to. This is a new movie, of course, rated PG-13 and a runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes with an IMDb rating of 6.9 out of 10. Which, if you go on Twitter, I felt like that was going to be much lower. Of course, directed by Taika Waititi, who did Thor Ragnarok, Thor. And he also wrote it along with Jennifer Caitlin Robinson. This co-wrote, co-written, I think, is probably the better term. The cast includes, of course, Chris Hemsworth in the lead role as Thor. Natalie Portman returns as Jane Foster. What was the drama again there? She hasn't been in a movie since the second one, right?
Right, yeah. She didn't want to come back to do them after.
I forgot what it was.
Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah. Oh wait, it was the first one, was it?
No, it was she did the first one, was on board to do the second one, but that was when Patty Jenkins was doing the second one. When Patty Jenkins left, she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But then they convinced her to do it, and then they finished it, and then she was like, I'm not doing any more of these. And now she's back.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that is Blake's dishes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Blake, not far away enough from his microphone for that one.
Apparently, yeah. I don't know how his apartment's set up, or whatever. And Christian Bale's here, making his MCU debut, as well as Tessa Thompson and Taika Waititi and Russell Crowe. Chris Pratt and the whole Guardian squad's there. So I think we'll probably stop there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, at least for the most of the ones in this. It's a Marvel movie. There's going to be a lot of people in there.
There's a lot of people here, guys. All right, so that's your cast and that whole shebang. The IMDb summary reads as follows. Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gore the God Butcher, who intends to make the gods extinct. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
all right.
I mean, that's kind of how it seems a lot of this movie feels, huh?
Yeah. You're just kind of like, I guess we're doing this. Sure. I'll fill in the gaps, I guess, a little bit. Natalie Portman, Jane Foster. Revealed pretty early on. Jane Foster. She's dying. She has cancer. And the only thing to save her, of course, everyone knows the cure to cancer. It's Mjolnir. Because we have a lot of those lying around. And so she basically inherits the power of Thor through the hammer. And then that's how the two of them team up to defeat Christian Bale, aka Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, aka Gore, the God Butcher, which is a cool name.
For sure.
We'll talk about the character in spoilers, I'm sure. But yeah. And it's that's the movie. Let's get in. Let's go. I am gonna say it. I was let down, but I think this movie is okay. Like, it's not great. I have a hard time saying it's bad. It just lacks quite a bit of substance for me. But I still kind of enjoyed myself once I kind of let loose a little bit. It's just very, very silly. It's a very silly film. And once you accept that it's even sillier than Thor Ragnarok, and you're just like, okay, whatever, like, this is kind of stupid, but okay, then I just kind of had fun, and I started to enjoy myself more. But it is not really the follow-up to Thor Ragnarok that I think a lot of people were expecting, including myself. Like, it definitely leads even more into the quirkiness of Thor Ragnarok, which felt very refreshing at the time. But I also think it was a factor of they had a very good balance of quirkiness and serious tones and
right.
and some plot that mattered in like an overarching story. So like you cared more, obviously, and that was pre-Endgame and was it pre-Infinity War too? Yeah. So it was pre those, and so we still cared quite a bit more than I feel like a lot of us do now. And here we are, and I think Taika Waititi took the great reception that movie had and was like, oh, people like this, I guess I'll give them more. And I think he leaned too much maybe into the fun factor, and maybe he shouldn't have. Maybe he should have just found that balance again. But overall, I think this movie's getting a lot of hate, and I think it's mainly just because it's a bit of a letdown compared to what we got just previously to this one with the last Thor. That being said, I still enjoyed myself. I'm barely a recommend, but it really comes down to if you like MCU or not. If you're Blake and you don't like MCU, you're not going to like this movie. It's not the MCU movie that's going to make you love superheroes. But if you're already invested and you think you're going to have fun, if you like the character of Thor, if you think Chris Hemsworth's hot or something, or if you think Natalie Portman's hot, whatever, then yeah, why not watch it? It's fun. Christian Bale's here. He's doing what he can, and yeah.
I
unleash Blake. Go Blake, go.
I went into this fairly blind though, right? So I didn't like watch too many of the trailers and things of that nature. I think we did the original teaser on like Trailer Talk. So it was a pleasant surprise to see Christian Bale in there. And that's like something that, like, as soon as he popped up, I was like, is that Christian Bale? And I was like trying to figure it out for like 10 minutes,
Sure.
and then I finally put it together. But yeah, I mean, to Adam's point, I mean, like, I don't know, like all these movies to me are just like, for start, we're not in spoilers. So, okay. So all these movies to me are just like, I don't know. I feel like they're just like setting up just for shit in the future. Like none of these movies feel like they're like movies that like I'm supposed to be watching today. Right.
Okay.
And I think that's what makes me really upset. And then the other part of it is just, they're just like so, I don't know. I guess I can't really be upset at it, but they're so like goofy and like family friendly where it's like, that's just not something I care to see. Like I don't care to see a blockbuster that's going to be like laughy and comedic jokes and undertones and things of that nature. And there are some kind of horror elements that were pretty cool, but I think Sam Raimi does it 1,000 times better. And Universe of what is Multiverse of Madness? Yeah. But I don't know. I guess I'm just confused. Like I don't even know who these. I think they're honestly just made for Marvel fans. Like I don't think they're made to be standalone films by any means, and that's just what makes them frustrating.
It's a very fair point. So, feels like they need to. I think what the other ones did well, like the ones pre-Endgame and that first Infinity arc, was what you're saying is they removing a communal thread, but within that each individually had substance and their own story and their own plot and everything, and now it just feels like these ones that have come out recently are kind of just waiting. You're kind of holding your breath a little bit, waiting for that thread to be further down. Like you see what they're doing, but the individual substance isn't there really.
Yeah, and I just feel like I don't know. It's almost hard like to tell the difference between all the films now. Like I feel like all these Phase 4 films are like relatively the same, and like that's also not the greatest. Just in terms of like tone, pacing, everything, it's all the same. Like I don't think they're bringing anything right, and I think that's my biggest problem. Now that I can say it out loud, I just don't think they bring anything new to the screen when they're doing all these movies. Which I guess to one point, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's like the age-old saying. But then it's like, Jesus Christ, like we're not even like trying to be and like bringing anything or I don't know, like new themes, something. It's just like, hey, we put this movie out and it made us fucking $300 million last time. So like, let's just fucking do the same movie 12 times in a row, right? Which I mean, from a business point, I guess I get it. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Ty, Nathaniel.
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, I struggled with this one quite a bit. So I do have things that I will obviously point out in non-spoilers, but yeah, I don't overly care for this story, this plot. It's almost one of those things that's not really anything that I needed. And I don't the chemistry doesn't really feel like it's even there, and it really kind of throws me a little bit.
Like romantically between Thor and Natalie Portman? Okay.
Yeah. And for you to be able to kind of sell that to me, I really gotta feel that. There was only one moment where it kind of came through, and we'll get around to that, but that was one of the issues I kind of had. One of the other issues is this could have looked 1,000 times better. We'll get around to some of the specific scenes that I'm talking about, but yeah, dude, some of this just looks like fucking blurry dog shit, and I just don't care for that, especially at the day and age that we're in.
I think I know some of what you're talking about, and I agree. I had the same thoughts.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess there's obviously a connection level for me on this too, where I just didn't overly connect with it, and then my only other biggest point is kind of where Blake was going. Your main demographic for this film should not be fucking 12 and 13-year-olds. I think that you should have you would have a much better movie if you kind of pointed this in the direction of, your mid 20s to your late or to your early 40s, and the people that have obviously read the comics and that are kind of understanding where this is going. This movie literally felt like it was made for 12-year-olds. The pretty much the entire time. which I did not overly care for. And yeah, I agree again with Blake. You can definitely have some very funny moments and things like that, but it was almost like every single act, I could hear a kid laughing in the background. And it's like, yeah, all right, whatever, like, fine. But yeah, it's a connection thing for me, and this one just didn't click for me. And there's a couple other things that we can obviously talk about in spoilers and stuff like that. But I'm probably gonna be a not recommend on this one. There are plenty of other Marvel movies out there, especially now, that you will have a much better time viewing.
Well said.
So, Nathaniel.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, for me, the kind of issues I have with this film actually go into kind of some of its craftsmanship. I would be, because we've reviewed movies on the podcast and other films that are aimed at 12 and 13-year-olds, and as long as you're still, telling a coherent story and dipping into your, craftsmanship to make those things, those stories can turn out completely fine and not feel like you're wasting your time with it or anything like that. I think for me, this movie shows a really kind of inconsistent idea of what the film was trying to be, what its story was going to be, and overall what the tone of the movie itself was going to be. I find it kind of whips back and forth between super kind of serious and and kind of dark, and then back to this kind of like very open and brighter and kind of ironic sense overall too. I really have a suspicion that we're going to hear in like the next 6 months that this movie was like made on most of the volume screen at Disney, and that there was like a poor like 4,000 VFX artists trying to make this thing work under like horrible conditions, and like this is kind of the best thing that they could come up with, because like I know this is the shortest amount of time we've had since a trailer dropping to the movie coming out for Marvel ever. This is one of the shortest Marvel movies overall ever. I have a suspicion that this thing was not in the can, ready to go or anything like that for a little while now. Now, obviously, it was made during COVID for the most part, so some things like have to kind of go. You have to make choices somewhere, and I'm willing to forgive a certain amount of that stuff, but just overall, it just does not add up to be more of the sum of its parts. That being said, I had a decent time at it. I didn't really, there were some of the jokes that landed for me. I wasn't like hating my time at the movie itself, but this is still not a recommend for me in general. I can't recommend this. I don't want Marvel to make more things like this. It should be better. It should be edited better. As Tyler has pointed out, there's a lot of just like basic camera work rules that this movie breaks and means that certain shots are very incoherent and tough to follow. And not a recommend from me.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that is 1 recommend and 3 don't recommends, which I had a sneaky suspicion that's how it was going to go anyway. But that's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. Well, anyway, we're going to go ahead and head into spoilers. So if you've not seen Thor, Love and Thunder, and you do not want to spoil it for you, go ahead, check the episode description where you can find a timestamp I have left you, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon the Entropy list.
Up upon.
Spoilers. Shit goes down.
Shit goes down.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm glad Nathaniel and Ty feel the same way. Just because Go ahead, Adam.
I recommended this, but like I'm like I said, just barely. Like it's like a 51-50 here.
Yeah.
Or 51-49. Like I'm just barely above the recommend, just because I didn't hate it. I enjoyed my time overall.
I hear your statement where you're like, if you're invested in like Marvel, should you see this movie? I mean, I guess that statement would be like, yes, because you've already invested so many years into it. And I feel like that's the only reason I'm even seeing these films, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
but
in
it's
this
just
podcast,
like in a podcast, true.
But I don't know that you'd have to. Like, I don't know that there's anything in this movie that couldn't have been sold on a Disney Plus show at this point. Like that was the thing.
Yeah.
And like
I don't know.
Some of the best parts of it that they set up another, like the bits with the Guardians of the Galaxy, were so glossed over that I was like, that should have been a 6-series Disney Plus show where we could have enjoyed all of them together and that kind of thing, and then had more of the time for setting up the rest of this as well too. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm with
thoughts.
you on that. For starters, I mean, the villain is, I did like the villain, right? I guess, but I think that's me being biased because like that's the only things like horror themes would come up. So I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. I can't appreciate that. And you can see like Christian Bale like trying to do something with the shitty script that he's given. But I mean, like even the opening segment where you just get like, the opening segment is a 5-minute backstory on the villain, just so we can be like, here's your backstory on the villain. So we're just not giving you like assed out.
No, I felt the same.
And I'm just like, what the? Yeah, it's fucking. I don't know. That just really infuriates. At least try to tie it in like to the story or something. It's literally like. But even before we get the title credits, I want to say you might get that scene.
No, it is. It's a soft open.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude. So yeah, I don't know. It's just sad to see that we've come from like Iron Man to that. You know, I guess like that's the hard thing that I'm having. It's frustrating, man. I don't know who this stuff is made for. Well, I guess we do know, as Tyler said, it's made for teenagers.
Yeah, which, like, for the record, we obviously have done like children-based movies and stuff like that.
Right.
For Nathaniel's point, I guess my biggest disconnect with that is I wasn't expecting this to be for 12-year-olds.
Sure.
You know, whereas like Buzz Lightyear, I expect that to be for a 12-year-old. Soul, I expect that to be for a 12-year-old. But Soul, for my argument, is a movie you would expect to be for a 12-year-old, but still holds.
But it's awesome.
Very good points and a very good story.
Yeah.
And a mature line for adults.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fine line that you can obviously have there. And I think this just does a terrible job at doing it.
Yeah, that was also my point
too. This movie doesn't know what the fuck it is. It goes from dark to light to serious to funny to dark again, and then immediately in the same scene of it trying to be dark, it immediately goes to funny when it's trying to be dark. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's no consistent tone and like throughout that at all in that sense.
Agreed.
And which is a bummer because, to Blake's point, I actually think Christian Bale is awesome in this, and like I thought they were doing really cool stuff. Really,
the only reason that character works is Christian Bale. Like I don't, if it was played by someone I've either never heard of or like someone who I barely know or something like that, like I don't think it would have done nearly as well. He saves that villain.
Yeah, did you all know that was Christian Bale? Like, did you know he was the villain in this?
I knew that he was the villain, but when the opening scene and he's walking, I didn't notice it was him until they did like until he was like in the Oasis.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, that's when I figured out it was too.
Yeah, because I'd like I mean the makeup's really well done, and he obviously looks like he put on a little bit of weight, but yeah, the way that they were kind of showing his face, and it was a little washed out because like the desert sun, which is obviously understandable.
Cool.
It was a little harder to tell that was him, so I was like, oh shit, that is his character. Okay, well that's cool. Now I know like where he's coming from.
Yeah, and then like
like go ahead.
No, I was just saying like later when you would see him and he would come out of the smoke or something, and they'd like kind of play with like the skull lighting on his face and stuff too. I thought all of that was really, really excellent. But yeah, like anytime he was on screen, I was like, this dude's awesome. He's giving it 110% and is like killing this. But everyone else is just in a different movie.
Yeah, I wish they would just like let him be a little more menacing. Like he had the character down, and I loved what he did. But he obviously had directions and things that he had to follow. But like the scene where the kids are talking in the cage, and he like pops out like from the shadows.
Right.
I'm like, I like sat up. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be nasty, bro. He's gonna be dark. Like this is it. This is what I've been fucking waiting for. And then he like brings up this like snake thing and like rips his head off and then like makes a joke about it and then just throws it away. I'm like, well, that wasn't fucking scary.
Sure.
I agree
Which,
with you.
I'm sure if I was, one of those kids sitting in there, like, yeah, it'd be weird if I just watched this guy rip off like a snake thing's head. But like, the tone of it was just like almost funny in a sense, and I was like, I didn't want that. That's not what I wanted from this scene. And yeah, there's just those little things. I did think like the Stormbreaker constantly like coming into screen.
Yeah.
Well, like his old girlfriend was pretty funny. I was like, all right, that's funny.
That's a good joke.
Cool.
I can't tell if the goats are good or a good thing or a bad thing. But they're in the conversation, and that's important.
Yeah. Somebody I saw somebody on Letterboxd say that this is the best representation of goats in a film since The Witch of 2015.
I like that. I can get behind it.
But yeah, from an emotional standpoint, I didn't overly get a connection between Thor and Thor.
See, I thought their kind of little backstory was better in this than it had been in previous ones. But yeah. I also see I thought when she was Thor, she seemed to have struggled with chemistry between the two of them when she was playing the hero Thor. And
yeah, like it was almost like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to be like as powerful, and like I didn't overly care for how they kind of like they didn't really know how to talk to each other, which I get it's like awkward. It's like 8 years or whatever, but like you guys obviously still had a lengthy relationship. You should at least be able to have like basic conversation with each other. You shouldn't have that like awkward silence where like somebody's walking away, or like where she's just like, I'm gonna go fly away now, and then like she just leaves, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so yeah, I didn't care for that. The only time I really felt like they connected was when she was on the hospital bed after like the first main fight, and he actually said that he loved her, and you actually see her emotions peak. And I'm like, okay, perfect. I got a little bit of goosebumps. I can actually see them connecting. This is what I wanted from them. And then that was it.
Sure.
And then the fight scenes just look dog shit.
Yeah, man, those fight scenes were
dog
bad.
shit.
Yeah, the one on I don't even know, the Shadow Realm, whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh, see, I liked that one.
Yeah, I was about to say I like the black and white. When they went black and white and then the thunder was blue, I thought that was probably the best like fight scene of the movie personally.
I didn't mind the fight scene, but it just could have looked so much better. Everything just seemed like it was super blurry, super out of focus. And I mean, they've done like fast moving characters before where fight scenes are still really, really done really well. And I think that if they would have just played with the lighting a little bit more, it would have been a lot more obvious as to like what's going around in the fight scenes.
I don't think it's man. I truly think I think this is going to be something that's like the VFX team didn't have enough time to make this like look good. Like I feel like the stories are going to come out that like
that's a valid point because
like,
it doesn't look the greatest.
Because like
I mean, that's not my point. I just it's the lighting in that team is still part of it. And obviously I get it's supposed to be part of the Shadow Realm, and like I did like the black and white. Anytime you throw anything to black and white, I'm hard. That was
cool. I'll give
but yeah, just I don't know, for something it didn't look as good as I was expecting it to look.
So I did see on Twitter that like a bunch of VFX studios in Hollywood are starting to basically refuse to work with Marvel because they've just had such insane crunch times and unreal expectations, and so more and more are kind of just backing out. Like it's not even worth like the money you're gonna pay us. Like it's just not, and would make a lot of sense. And I think it's from what I saw, it was primarily towards the TV shows that they've been doing, and getting CGI done for that stuff. I don't know how much of that applies to movies specifically, but it would definitely make sense because this movie is so CGI heavy. It's actually kind of insane, and it doesn't really look that great for the most part. Like this was some of I just kept thinking back to it. Nathaniel always says, practical effects will just always look better, and obviously you can't do this movie practically with the locations that it's going to, but it just did make me miss kind of like a just more grounded feel to the MCU that we had for a while and have since left I mean a bit.
Some of it looked really good, when they went to the God world, whatever that's called.
that looked good except for the opening shot when they were panning around. That looked like dog shit. I was like, I can't even tell what's happening. Like, it looked blurry. It was like rendered at maybe 20 frames a second. It seemed like,
but even
I
then,
couldn't tell what was going on.
That fight scene when they're finally fighting the golden guards, I still don't know what any of those guards actually look like besides they are some sort of golden man. But like, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you any detail on them or anything like that.
Well,
that
you
was
can obviously
one
tell
too.
they put a lot of work in just like the overall structure of the building, and they obviously put a lot of work into making sure all the other gods you could at least somewhat see fairly well.
That's true.
I thought the little bow god was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. And again, like there was jokes in here that landed for me. I thought,
100%.
Probably my favorite joke out of the whole thing is when they actually go to the Eternity planet and they just run into it because the color's gone, so you have no depth of field anymore.
And
so
the goats run into it.
Yeah, so it's just way closer than you think it is.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, that's a good joke. Like, but yeah, there are bits in this where I had a good time with it, but like just the way that this movie, like again, the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it, per the pedigree of people that are making it, is just like unacceptable, and it just like it reeks of a movie that like they shot too much, they didn't know how to make it, they didn't have a set script and a set vision ahead of time, so they just worked collaboratively or tried to like improv it on the day, and like that works for certain stuff when it's a small movie or anything, but when it's a part of a bigger universe like this, this whole thing feels messy. The tone whiplashes back and forth to different overall feelings and different overall storylines, and it's a pretty big miss.
I hated Zeus. Russell Crowe I wanted to beat the shit out of you. Yeah. I just did not like his character in this at all.
I like that bit quite a bit, actually.
You did? Yeah.
Kind of a fan.
So you're not invited to the orgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again is just such like a weird thing to say. Like you're the whole time you're like running this movie, and again I get like the younger kid tone, and then he's just talking about an orgy. I'm like, wait, what?
That's what. I thought I heard it wrong, and then he said it again. I was like, But yeah, that was. I
hate to be the parent that has to explain what an orgy is.
Right. Then even when Zeus is doing like the thunderbolt, thrown around, then I'm like watching like I don't know the correct term, but like the women who are behind him who are kind of like in entourage type thing.
Zeus sets.
Yeah, so I'm like watching them, like what are they looking at? Yeah. Like they're not even all looking in the same place.
Oh yeah,
not even following the. It was just like really bad. I'm like, I don't understand how nobody caught that. So that was another thing that just like
like there's like in the first shot of this or the first or second shot, Christian Bale has a very distinctive mole that's on the inside of the bridge of his nose that he's never had, and like it switches. They clearly reversed a shot in between two of them. Like it's like first shot of the movie, it's on one side of his face, and then like he's talking to that god, and then it cuts back to him, and he's like reacting, and it's on the opposite side of his nose. I was like, you flipped the shot, and you thought no one was gonna notice this? Like, come on, folks. But then this raises the interesting question in that, like, I reckon at this point you could upload this movie to Disney Plus 6 months from now, and there could be another cut of this movie on there within another 6 months with updated CGI and updated like effect shots in there, which changes this movie. Like genuinely, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's happening. They've already said it's happened with episodes of Stranger Things that shots are being like re-edited and re-uploaded on there so that they look better in between.
Yeah. Give it to Snyder, dude. Let's see what he can do with it.
Oh my God. Snyder, you want 4 hours of this, Tyler? 4 hours of this. 4 hours of this, Tyler?
Hey, nobody wanted 4 hours of Justice League, but we watched it.
Reviewed it, and
and it relatively paid off.
Yeah, it did. I will say that.
I don't. Yeah, to Blake's point on like how this ties in. Like, I don't know if Disney has a plan now. I think the plan is eventually Young Avengers, which because I think Eternity has shown up at some point in one of those at some point. But I wonder if they just went, after Endgame, we don't have a big overall plan for right now, so it's going to be these kind of smaller movies that are coming out, and I don't know if the rest of the public was kind of in on that plan, and now they're kind of like going, well, I thought, what's the next chapter kind of thing, rather than just like more individual movies. or anything. Am I making sense there? Like, I wonder if some of the negative backlash to this movie is because we were expecting after Endgame them to immediately launch into the next story rather than just kind of like having these smaller, maybe lesser stakes movies overall. Even if that's the case, I feel like they've been very inconsistent in their messaging of what's coming out anyways, and up to this point.
Do you guys care for the fact that like he just gets a daughter out of this?
Feels weird, doesn't it?
It feels like so out of place.
It feels like one of those things where they were like, hey, at the end of this one, we want Thor to have a daughter. And then they just kind of worked back from the movie there, or worked backwards through the movie from there. Like, how do we get this
like,
to
all right,
this point?
Here's the maze.
Right.
This is the end point.
Yeah.
We're going to start here.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't care for it at all. And it's not even like we have that much time with the daughter because she fucking dies in the first 57 seconds of the film.
That's an excellent point.
So, like,
yeah.
That's like the next point. So you don't even have an attachment to her as a viewer.
Well, I think now it's like she's housing the eternity god inside her too.
Yeah.
Like,
so I don't know. Yes, like that didn't hit for me at all. Just for not having any feelings towards the daughter. So I mean, I don't know.
I don't care. I
forgot Natalie
Kid
Portman
Thors either.
The Kid Thors?
Kid Thors. I don't care for that ability at all.
Yeah, that looks like it seemed like out of a cartoon or something. I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, I totally forgot Natalie Portman. First two Thors were like she popped on screen. And I was like, oh, I forgot she's in these movies. You know, it's like that was pretty cool.
I like the hammer's new power, the shotgun hammer, where it like flies apart.
Yeah, that's lit.
And then can like tear through. There's a lot of like creative bits in this too, where I'm just like I see the idea and I'm like, that's awesome. Like the boat being pulled by the two goats with the axe in the middle of it, and you see the Bifrost riding through it. But I'm like, that's a great idea. I love the fact that that's in that movie. But then they have no way of writing that into the movie for it to make any sense, or that like doesn't break some other part of the movie. Like the joke with the hammers, like them being sentient. Well, what level of sentience are they now then too? Like, yeah, it's in like why is Stormbreaker's Bifrost janky up until the point that Christian Bale needs to use it, and then it works completely fine. Like, how can he use it for never having used it before?
He gives it beer.
He does give it beer, which is great.
I remember that. Yeah, that was weird. That was another scene I was like,
I think Valkyrie's underused in this as well.
100%.
Like she could have had a really interesting storyline as well too. I did like her and Jane, their broship.
Yeah, that was funny as shit.
Yeah, it was cool.
But then
I like the mini speaker. That was funny as fuck. That was a funny scene.
Yeah.
She's like a hand grenade. She's like, oh no, there's a portable speaker.
Yeah. So that did make me laugh. But then that's when I'm just like, how does this fit anywhere in this movie?
Yeah.
You know? But it was funny. I think Tessa Thompson's just kind of funny.
And Chris Pratt looks fat.
Well, hey. It's hard out there, man.
I like seeing Groot.
Like he just started drinking after Jurassic Park Domain.
Domain.
Yeah, Jurassic Park Domain. I like that.
Sorry, Jurassic World.
Yeah, that was the problem with the title.
Hey, little Groot.
Hey, for audio listeners, which is all of our listeners, Blake brought up a little baby Groot stuffed animal.
Yeah.
What was another thing that I was gonna say on this too, though, that I thought was crap? What were we just talking about?
Oh, Disney got their LGBTQ plus plug with
There's a couple of them.
being into dudes, and there's only dude Korgs, and only dudes make dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that was funny, and I loved it.
Did catch that.
Well, they're the only. Yeah, there's only dudes in his race. So
Only dudes make dudes. It's only dudes.
When he gets hit by the bolt that he like shatters into rocks, like my first thought was like, does that mean he's dead? Because he's only a pile of rocks. Like that was like my first rationale. And then it cuts to him again, but he's like, hey, I'm still alive. So that was pretty funny to kind of see that. But it's Korg.
Did you remember yet?
We like Korg.
I can't remember.
Was there only one after credit scene? Because I only stayed for one.
The second one wasn't worth staying for.
I disagree. I like the second one.
Really? It's Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman arrives in Valhalla, and Idris Elba, who is the dude, the Bifrost
Oh,
dude,
okay. Yeah.
meets her in Valhalla. Yeah, Heimdall, and he's like, "Oh, well, you're welcome amongst the heaven of the gods," or something like that. And that was it.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like they could still be back, and you could get Heimdall back, because anytime we could get Heimdall back, I'm in, because
Idris
obviously,
Elba's fucking
Idris Elba was the
and
best.
Heimdall's dope.
That's fair.
And I like that he
It
had
was
a
cool to
kid.
see his son.
Yeah, that was said, like a lot of those choices that I thought were really interesting and had some kind of cool stakes for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do get kind of just lost in the background and everything like that as well too. But
His original name, for the record, is way better than Axel.
Astrid, yeah.
Yeah. What was the first post-credits?
You get Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso as Hercules, which is awesome casting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was so excited
It's
when I saw
very funny. But yeah, Zeus is not dead. He got lightning bolt through the chest, but he's still alive. And then Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso is Hercules. So that was the first one.
Have you seen Ted Lasso yet, Blake?
I have not.
Okay. If you saw that show, you'd understand. Like, he's a really cool actor. Really like him. And I think
Yeah.
it'll do. Hopefully, they do something with him in the next Thor, because that'd be fun.
Hopefully they don't make another.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say now. Marvel has to really does really kind of need to address the fact that they are just killing all of their women. Like,
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, Natalie Portman in this one, Gamora on that one, and the last one. Like, they are just, all of the women are gonna be gone here. So, yeah.
Well, with that,
Aunt May's gone too. We're kind of 5 for 5 here, folks. Stop it, Marvel.
All right. Well, let's rank this movie. Welcome back. Yeah, we probably should. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and rank Thor, Love and Thunder, up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies, rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is. We throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd.
Oh boy.
Ooh boy. This is an interesting one. I already know. Oh. I already know the range. I've already spotted it.
Go for it, dude.
I don't know where it's at. I just know like the range, like I said.
Well, Justice League is 106. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
This is better than Justice League. This is better than Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack Snyder.
I don't even know if I can say that one.
It's much shorter.
That's the
And within closer degrees of separation of Florence Pugh for you, so.
True. This does have Tessa Thompson though, and I do like Tessa Thompson. And fun fact, she's also in When a Stranger Calls. I think we brought that up on Pod.
Is she really?
When a Stranger Calls. Yeah, she plays I can't think of but she plays one of her friends. And when I watched that recently, I was maybe the past 5 or 6 months. I was like, oh my God, is that Tessa Thompson? There's like something just like popped up in my head. So.
I feel like she's always weird for me because she's in Creed too, and like
she's in Creed,
and like she's supposed to be, because like I feel like that movie and like I don't know, something else, or like Thor Ragnarok or something that came out where she was like, she needed to be like playing like a arguable like 18, 20-year-old, and then like a week later needed to be playing like an arguable like 30, 40-year-old. Or she was in like Westworld, and I was just like, how is that the same actress? Like, it broke my brain for a little bit, where she just very convincingly played 2 different ages within like a very short amount of time from each other.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, back to the list. Adam,
Found my spot.
Okay, go for it.
83.
83.
Below A Quiet Place Part 2 and above Uncharted.
Oh,
I couldn't put
man.
this above A Quiet Place Part 2. That movie's not like as good as the first one, but it's not bad. It's pretty good actually. And I
Over
think it's
Trick or
honestly-
Treat?
You guys are all.
I was gonna say he wasn't a big fan of Trick or Treat, but speaking of, I will pull my gatekeeper.
That one's the outlier where it's like that's the only one where I'm like, fuck.
Or 2014's Godzilla.
I'm actually so I'm gonna pull my gatekeeper card here and Trick or Treat. I'm actually gonna put this at 87.
Okay.
And
okay,
Tyler, I have mine in the exact same spot as well too. Below
Sweet.
Trick or Treat, above Halloween Kills, right?
Yep.
Wow. Do you guys would prefer this over Wonder Woman 2017?
Hey man, you know
I know Ty fucking hates that movie. Adam and Nathaniel? That's surprising.
It's more I can't allow Halloween Kills to be higher than this.
Right.
Yeah. The more I just think about that movie, the more I just want it to be further down the list. But yeah, Wonder Woman 2017 would definitely be the one out of those. And West Side Story, I would think would be better than this. But I still think like if you gave me those three options right now, I'd probably watch this again over those three. Like,
wow. Okay. Yeah. Tough. It's tough because I see Snyder Cut, and Snyder Cut is very long, but I do think that Snyder Cut is better than this. But then the film right under Snyder Cut is Wonder Woman 1984, which you could argue could be like possibly the worst film out here. So it's hard for me to put this underneath that film. I think, oh my gosh, fascinating. Honestly, I think I'm going to put this at 95.
above Jurassic World?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would rather watch this opposed to Jurassic World, but then I would rather watch watch Chris Pratt fight White Claws.
You're
right, just for the action.
White Claws.
You're going for a Chris Pratt trilogy in there too, because he is in the start of this one as well.
True. Yeah.
Chris Pratt, really not a fan of the Entropy list. He's
Chris Pratt divided by Chris
not
Pratt.
Shooting at a high percentage.
No, he's really not. All right.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm sitting.
With Blake's placement, we have an 87, an 87, an 83, and a 95, making it rounded out to Nathaniel. You'll be happy for this one. An 88 right below Halloween Kills.
Okay.
Oh, great.
And above West Side Story.
Great.
Still above Wonder Woman kills me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in actually the worst spot possible. It's below Halloween Kills and above Wonder Woman. No one is happy with
true.
where it landed.
Well,
we could executive decision.
That pretty much sums up that movie. No one is happy.
All right, fair enough. Well, that's it for the review segment here on Thor, Love and Thunder, locked in there at 88. So our next review is a special one. It's a very, very special one. Very special to me. And hopefully it's about to become very special to you, dear listener, in case it's not already special. Back to the Future. It's coming.
We're back.
Here. You knew it was coming eventually. I'm honestly shocked it hasn't been on here sooner. But yeah, it's my birthday pick. It was just my birthday over the weekend. I guess on Monday. So this week. So my pick, and I don't know if there's a better movie to pick than Back to the Future. So I'm looking right now. It's on Fubo. Still never know. And then it looks like it's on AMC Plus, which if I click this link, okay. It brings you to Amazon Prime Video, but you have to get an AMC Plus subscription. I guess they're linked somehow. Anyway, you can rent it. It's on Fubo, or $4 anywhere you can rent it, really. But yeah, check that out. I'm very excited. I love this movie. I love it so much.
Yeah, it'll be my first watch from front to beginning,
which is wild. I'm very excited to have you watch that though, and kind of go through it with you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what year is that? Is it
85?
80?
85. Yeah, which is kind of part of the plot, so you'll see.
You'll see.
You'll see. Nathaniel, 5-star review by chance?
No 5-star review, folks, but if you want to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or in Spotify, we will read it out here on the podcast, and you'll get to hear what you wrote. So it could be funny, it could be nice, it could be mean. Just don't be evil, and give us 5 stars, and we'll read it out. 5 stars.
Fantastic. You can also share the podcast. That helps out a lot. Share with a friend, a family member. I don't even know what to reference from this movie. An ex-lover?
A weird Muppet Jim Henson Birdman that you just come across on
Those are
the.
actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked those as well
the
too.
designs of those.
Yeah,
I was
And
like,
the fact that he's doing who is that?
Jean-Claude Van Damme, leg split kick. Yeah,
The split kick, dude.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
I was dead.
that was a good bit. Yeah, so share with some bird friends and ex-lovers, whatever you want to do. Just somebody, please. You can also follow the show on Twitter at BanterRow, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, on YouTube we're just Back Row Banter, and our email for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of that sort is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Yo, Letterboxd. You can find me BlakeHolder. I'll be on there rating things, giving some reviews, giving some thoughts when I can. So you find me on there, BlakeHolder. That's about it. We'll go to Nathaniel today.
What's up, everyone? You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @NSGingrich or on Instagram at NathanielG92. Other podcasts, Sandpiper Tapes, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Tyler?
Twitch.tv/ultrabajo87, Twitter, Letterboxd, and Instagram are all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Adam?
Find me on Twitter at Aish24 and on Letterboxd at Aish. That's AYYSH. I believe that's it. That's all we have for you for episode 110. What a nice round number. We're already 10 episodes into 100. God damn.
Craziness.
Right? Well, that's it for Thor, Love and Thunder. Thank you all for listening, especially if you made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener, and we really, truly do appreciate it. Join us next week for our review of Back to the Future. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will be RB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate anything that you can do to help us grow, and we appreciate everything that you do, including being here right now with us, listening to all 4 of our beautiful voices. We appreciate you. And other than that, just be good to one another, spread that love, and we'll be RB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support as always. Really appreciate it. We'll to continue to do it without you. And as we always say, as long as you're doing at least one thing every day, say you're living the right way. Be RB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Now recording.
Amazing. Hello, listeners. You're listening to pre-pod banter in the post-pod, post-credits, which seems extra fitting since this week's review was a Marvel movie.
Oh.
Have we ever talked publicly on pod about the post-credits thing that we've been doing since episode 1?
Oh, just
I don't know if we've ever really
stairs.
acknowledged like why it's there or like.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It
There
seems kinda
because we
obvious.
want it there.
Well, it's there because the whole idea was like, Marvel movies and shit. They have obviously they're like post-credit scenes. Like, what if we did the same
Boo.
thing and it's like pre-credits? Are you booing Marvel?
Yeah.
Boo. Boo. Anyway, yeah, and here we are 110 episodes later. I think we've had pre-pod banter on every single ep except for potentially the Get Back episode, the bit of sizzle.